Welcome to G Street TV, where African stories come to life. Don't forget to subscribe and comment where you are watching from. In the heart of a village nestled between two rivers and watched over by a mountain shaped like a sleeping lion, there once lived a woman named Nena. She was known far and wide as the woman with the kindest heart and the strongest voice. Her words carried weight, not because they were loud, but because they came wrapped in wisdom soaked from the God of experience. Nena had only one son, Obiora, born after many seasons of waiting, prayer, and sacrifice. Obiora was a fine young man, tall like the Iroko tree and clever like the tortoise himself. As a child, he would sit beside his mother while she told him stories under the moonlight, tales of hunters who betrayed their own, of spirits who blessed the obedient, and of children who ignored wise counsel and paid dearly for it. But like the river that begins in trickles before it grows wide, Obiora's respect for those tales began to wane as he grew older. By the time he became a man, strong enough to hold a machete and wise enough to be sent to the city for apprenticeship, he had become proud. His ears no longer welcomed his mother's advice. He would scoff and say, "Mama, those stories are old people's medicine. This is a new world. Let me walk my own path." Nena saw the signs. She prayed, she fasted, and she warned him gently, "My son, the chicken that strays too far from its mother becomes food for the hawk. Obedience does not make a man weak. It makes him wise." But Obiora would only laugh, the kind of laughter that sounds like stones falling into a dry well. He left for the city with only a small bag, a few yam tubers, and his mother's last advice echoing in his ears like distant thunder. In the city, Obiora was received by his master, a man named Oga Ifani, who ran a thriving business dealing in spare parts. Life was fast, money moved like ants on sugar, and temptations were plenty. But Obiora, being smart and smooth-talking, learned quickly. Within a year, he was trusted with money and sent on errands that most apprentices only dreamed of. He sent money home, not often, but enough to keep his mother fed and clothed. Yet he never wrote, never visited, never called. When neighbors asked, Nena would smile and say, "He is busy becoming a man." Obiora's success in the city soon drew him into the company of other young men who had tasted the sweetness of fast wealth. They drove borrowed cars, wore perfumes that announced their presence before they entered, and spoke English mixed with pidgin and arrogance. They introduced Obiora to pleasures he had only heard whispered in the bushes back home: clubbing, women, alcohol, and the dangerous lure of easy money. One evening, after a long night of partying, his friend Chuka leaned in and said, "Obi, guy, all this your loyalty to that old man a funny day waste time. See this deal. Just one package run, and you go fit open your own shop. We dey push am go Ghana, not just to deliver and collect." Obiora hesitated. The package was small. Just a plain brown bag wrapped with tape and sealed in a nylon sack. Obiora didn't ask what was inside. Chuka told him, "The less you know, the better. You're just the carrier." But the way Chuka's eyes shifted like a rat sniffing for danger made Obiora uneasy. Still, greed is a loud drummer, and Obiora's ears were wide open. The night before his journey to Ghana, he dreamt of his mother. She was sitting beneath the Udora tree in front of their hut, pounding yam with tears in her eyes. Each time she raised the pestle, her lips moved, whispering, "Obiora, come back. Do not cross that path. Come back." He woke up in sweat, heart thudding like a masquerade drum. But dreams are like smoke, clear in the moment, forgotten by dawn. At the border, everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. As he approached the checkpoint, a dog began to bark madly. One of the officers shouted, "Bring that back." Obiora's hands trembled. His voice became water. He tried to explain he was just a messenger, but the officers had seen this play before. Inside the bag was a hidden pouch of powdered substance. Not pepper. not flour. Something that made the officers' eyes sharpen like cutlasses. He was arrested on the spot. They took him to a dark, cold cell that smelled of sweat, urine, and regret. There was no sunlight, no pity, and no mercy. Hours became days. Days became weeks. Chuka's number no longer connected. Oga Ifeanyi heard the news and disowned him. The case was passed from one cold desk to another. Nobody came for him. Nobody cared. Except his mother. Back in the village, Nena heard it first from a returning boy who used to fetch water for her. "Mama Obiora," he began gently, "they say your son is in trouble in Ghana." The news struck her like a pestle on the chest. She did not scream. She did not faint. She went inside, brought out his childhood wrapper, held it to her chest, and wept silently. The next day, she packed her things and went to the church. She lit candles. She prayed. She called on the gods of her ancestors and the God of Abraham. She walked barefoot around the market square 7 times and called his name to the wind. "Obiora, my son. May wisdom visit you in that darkness." In the cell, Obiora fell sick. Malaria crawled through his bones. Shame wrapped his throat. Each night, he remembered his mother's advice, the proverbs he had ignored, the stories he had laughed at, the face he hadn't seen in years. When the drum beats too fast, even the best dancers lose rhythm, her voice echoed. One morning, he collapsed. That was when something strange happened. An old man. The letter traveled slowly, carried in the pocket of a kind stranger, another apprentice who had known Obiora in better days. When Nena received it, she sat beneath the same Udora tree where she had once told her son stories under moonlight. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded the paper. His handwriting was no longer proud, but broken. The lines slanted. The ink bled. The words pierced. "Mama, I have failed you. You warned me. I was too proud to listen. I thought the city was wisdom, but now I know. You gave me stories, and I called them fables. But now I see they were shields. Forgive me, even if the world does not." Nena didn't cry. Her tears had dried long ago. She folded the letter, kissed it, and held it to her chest. Then she rose, wrapped her faded wrapper tightly, and began her journey. A journey not of feet, but of spirit. She began calling on old friends, elders, and even the church council. Together, they raised money, not to bribe, but to fight the case with truth. A respected village lawyer, touched by her devotion, offered his services freely. In Ghana, Obiora's case dragged for months. But something began to shift. His confession, his cooperation, and the letter that his mother read aloud in court melted even the hardest hearts. The judge, a firm but fair woman, said, "You are not the first to make a mistake, but you may be one of the few to learn from it. You will serve time, but you will also be given a chance to rebuild." He was sentenced to 2 years in a correctional center, reduced from 10. In those 2 years, Obiora became a teacher inside the prison. He began teaching others how to read and write. He shared his story, again and again, each time beginning with, "My mother once told me." He found healing in the telling. And then, one day, he was free. He returned to the village, not with wealth, but with wisdom. His skin was thinner, his shoulders stooped, and his eyes no longer danced with pride. Children gathered when he walked through the market. Women whispered. Elders nodded. When he reached his compound, he found Nena sitting beneath the Udora tree. She was older now. Her back was bent like a question mark, but her eyes still held fire. He fell at her feet. "Mama." She said nothing. She simply opened her arms and pulled him into her frail chest. There, under that same tree, mother and son wept, not for what was lost, but for what was found again.